I'm Beth Journay with the Greater Angleton Chamber of Commerce, and I have with me today Jason Perez, who is a candidate for mayor of the city of Angleton. Jason, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First of all, tell us about yourself and why it is a good idea for us to vote for you for mayor, and what useful experience, knowledge, or perspective do you bring to that office?
A little bit about myself is I'm an Angleton boy. Not born here, born in Freeport, lived in Freeport, Lake Jackson just for a few years, and then moved to Angleton as fast as my parents got here. But pretty much I say I'm born and raised here, so I say I bleed purple. I'm a graduate of Angleton High School, have stayed through my work career here for the most part. But I'm an Angleton boy. That's why I feel that's a little bit about myself. My experience, I've been in this city all my life pretty much, and I have dug really deep into this community. Started out as a volunteer fireman in 1988, and to this day I'm still there. I am the second longest member with 28 years in the department, so I have seen this city grow and see things that have happened all those years just because of the involvement in the fire department. Been involved in many civic activities or organizations in the community. One of them was the Chamber. As you know, I was your board president for a year, served on the board for many years. So the Chamber is a passion of mine as well. Also, I volunteer with the fair. I've been doing that for quite some time. I was an executive there for 10 years. I termed out there, still active with the fair, helping with their public safety. And then about 10 or 12 years ago, got involved in council. Started there, was on comprehensive planning, worked my way into that area, decided to be a councilman. So I've done 8 years as a council person. I did run for mayor 6 years ago, lost by 7 votes. So that was close. So that showed to me that the citizens, there was almost a majority that said, Jason can do the job. And so I'm here again to try it again and try to get back there and be that mayor once again. And I think part of my big reasoning is I think I have a lot of experience. 8 years on council. I was on planning and zoning, the parks board, Keep Angleton, the citizens, senior citizens group. So I've seen all the facets of the city, and I felt that experience will help me continue on, hopefully, the momentum that's going on right now at the city. And so I think that's kind of where I'm at, and it's just been a passion of mine since my first wife. I've only been married twice, but my first wife's grandmother put into me, she says, I can't go to Walmart with you because you know too many people. It's a 2-hour trip. She says, you need to be mayor one day. And that was put in my brain, I would say probably 92, 93, and it's just stuck. And so it's just a passion and a goal of mine is to be the mayor one day.
Okay. Okay, what leadership skills? Now, let me stop for just a second and tell you that some of these are going to feel and seem a little repetitive,
Yes.
but we just want to give our viewers a good picture of who you are and why you're running for this office.
Sounds perfect.
Okay. What leadership skills do or would you bring to the city council or to the mayor's position if elected? And what is the toughest group that you have ever had to lead?
My leadership skills, I think, will be in part my occupation. Ever since around 1994, working at the hospital, I was a manager. So I've been a manager or a supervisor since 1994. Manager at the hospital of a major department, managed supervised employees. Went to MD Anderson, a really large organization, managed about 80 employees there for just a little stint. And then Angleton EMS, I was the assistant director. I managed volunteers and paid staff, about 50 people. So I feel that my managerial experience will help with city staff, city complaints, citizens, because I think part of that management tool I've had to learn is to be diplomatic, is to be approachable, is to be the person that can hopefully put 2 people together in a room, talk about the issue, and have a common solution, at least work it out. So I think that experience through my career, being a manager, and then also just being the experienced leader on council for those 8 years. There were some tough things that happened during my stint while I was there. But I think some of that experience helped me now sit back and think, what would I do different if that happened again? How would I approach that citizen or talk to that vendor or talk to that new business person coming into our community? So I think that would be part of it, would be those type of things. The toughest group, When you have to help manage volunteers and paid together, that is tough. It's really tough when there's that different division of being a volunteer slash being an employee. Not that it was tough that I didn't like it, but marrying the two together and putting them together, it makes it tough. City's the same way. You have paid staff and you have volunteer boards. You have to put those two together and make them work. So I think those two pieces, I have experience in helping mend that process or ease that process. So I kind of think that's where I'm at with that.
And we do need to say that you are a graduate of Leadership Angleton.
Yes, I am. Proud graduate.
Okay, what skills, qualities, or experience do you possess that separates you from your opponent?
I think diplomatic, approachability. People seem to sometimes think I'm a cheerleader. But I think those two things are great qualities. You have the ability to set the tone when you put people together. And if you come in with that negative attitude or that overpowering attitude, I think you're going to be set up for failure. So I think to a certain degree, you have to be a mediator with a common goal to put these two people together, or two organizations together, and try to make them be one and make them happy, so to speak. And I hate to say that, but you got to marry them together. You know, it's like oil and water sometimes, but you got to put that oil and water together and make it mix.
There you go. Okay. If elected, what would you hope to accomplish during your term in office?
Well, it's always been tough. Even when I was there for those 8 years, retail development, rooftops, and commercial development. We all know we bring those things into the city. It pulls the burden off of you and I and the citizens on our taxes. It gives our quality of life, better quality of life. When you have better, I don't want to use the word better, please. When you have a more selection of restaurants, a more selection of places to shop, then I think you bring that quality of life. And so my goal has always been, I like to see more rooftops. I would love to see more neighbors. I would love to see more people at Walmart, Kroger's, or a Target, a Randall's, something. But we got to get that here. So I would really be pushing city staff and leadership, go get it. Got to go get it. Make that contact. If we make the contact and you show to me that it's just not here yet, I'm happy with it. But you got to go out and make that contact. You got to go and knock on that door and call that Randall's or call that super salad restaurant and say, look at Angleton, please. And so I think that's one of my big objectives, because then I won't hear it from our citizens, well, I had to go to X neighborhood or X city to go get X. And that's hard for us to swallow. And you as a chamber, I know you say the same thing. And so we have to sit there and absorb it, and we got to get it here. Now, I don't want to be by all means like a Pearland where it just blows up, but it's got to be controlled growth. And I think that's down the road in our questioning, but anyway.
Okay. What do you see as Angleton's greatest challenges in the next decade, and how can you, as an elected official, help face or be prepared for those challenges?
I think it's going to be that controlled growth. Where I got started here was in the comprehensive planning group. And I think to make us successful in 10 years, we need to pull that plan off the shelf. I don't know if it's been pulled in a while. We need to look at it. I think we need to revitalize that group and revamp it and help maybe rewrite it. And I think that's going to be our challenge, because we see what's happening north now. We're seeing a little bit of growth in the north end of our city. And if we have that explosive growth, are we going to now have two pieces of Angleton? Will there be two downtowns? Will there be hopefully one big city and not a division of downtown, old versus new? And we're battling that right now, because we have the old kind of versus new, but we need to maintain that old with the new. And so I think comprehensive planning and to control that growth in the next 10 years is going to be vital. And I think we really need to revitalize that team or that group of individuals, whether it's some of the old ones that were there, bring some new people in there. But I think it's time to dust that book off, because I know it's a book, it was a big binder, and I think it's time to revisit that. And I think maybe with the new city managers, got some new energy behind them. If there is a new council that shows up or a new mayor, maybe it could be that sparking catalyst to do that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Jason. How important is it for the city to purchase items and services from local vendors? It's kind of a two-part question.
Okay.
How committed to the shop local motto are you, and what have you done to encourage the city and its citizens to keep their tax dollars in Angleton?
Well, if you see my checkbook and see my restaurant bill, it's Angleton. But as I said earlier, I was with the chamber when the shop local was instituted, when Ryan Kay brought that to the board and said, let's get that going. And it's been successful in my eyes. And so it's true dear to me because I know you spend here, your tax dollars here, that's money, revenue for the city, which helps in all facets. So I'm committed to say, try, at least ask yourself the question, can I get in Angleton? And then if not, maybe you may go to the next neighboring community to get it, but you're keeping it in Missouri County. But I think you need to always ask yourself, can I get it here first? And then if you can't, then we understand because it's just not here. But like I said, it's really true and dear to me because that's what makes Angleton Angleton. All these small businesses around here and these homegrown businesses, that's what gives us our hometown feel. That's what gives us, you know, that camaraderie as a community, that warm and fuzzy when you can call your neighbor. Use Mark Swallow as an instance, and you can call Swallows after hours when your ambulance was broke and said, can you come fix my flat tire? And he does. And that's what makes Angleton. You don't get that in Houston. You don't get that in Austin. That's what makes Angleton what it is. And so I really push shop local because if we don't have those people, Walmart's not going to change your tire at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so I think we really got to push those local. My wife started a small local business. She's selling right now. And so I see her passion for it. And now I've really seen the value of it. I really have.
So I'm not sure, maybe you did answer this, but how important do you think it is for the city to make its purchases local?
To me, they need also want to do the same thing. Ask themselves, can I get it here first? Sometimes it's okay if they go on the big contract, but still, you got to keep your local people happy, if you will. Keep them in business, and if you can buy it here, you know, I've seen some local shops where the city has purchased locally the small business. And it just keeps them going. But I really think as a city, we need to also be asking ourselves the question, can we buy it locally? And I know they do things locally, but we really need to overview our whole purchasing practice and are we buying locally? Because that shows commitment to those individuals. If we commit to them, they commit to the city. It's a win. It's a back and forth situation.
Absolutely. Okay. How would you describe the city of Angleton to a business prospect looking at the possibility of relocating to the city?
Well, like I said earlier, I bleed purple. I feel Angleton is a great community with a great atmosphere. And so one of the things I would tell the city is we have great things going here, quality of life. Our parks have come a long way from where they were when I was younger, with our parks. So I think our parks department does a good job with certain activities for our community. Our parks are well. So I tell them, look at the quality of life of Angleton. Look at our schools. We have a top-notch school system. Dr. Montgomery and those teachers and administrators have done a wonderful job over there. Well, I would tell them, look at our schools. If you want quality education, the city of Angleton can offer you that. I would then, if they're looking at big, whether it's small or large, take advantage of our tax property incentive that's here at the city. If you get a business or a structure here, you can have some of those property taxes rebated back to you, and so we can look at that. I think we're nearing toward the end of that program, but I would see about keeping it going, keep that program going because it's worked. We've gotten some rooftops, they've gotten a few small businesses. Look at TERS, look at an abatement. I know when 3M came, there was an abatement offered to them, and I do the same thing. I would at least look at that and say, is that an opportunity for us to get you here? Maybe through that tax abatement. I wouldn't go super duper long term, but at least get them here to give that something back to that because we don't have a huge economic development incentive. But I know there's been talk. I know when I was on council that last go around, we talked about, is it time for the 4B sales tax to get a look at it and say, is it time to maybe take it to the voters to push some of that money now to economic development? Because it's got to come to a vote. Because right now we use our 4B sales tax for parks and drainage and some other things, but now is the time to move it and push it over to the economic development side. Is it time? And so, but we have to sell it, we got to cheerlead it, we got to promote it, and once again, it's going to be the mayor and council that steers the boat on that, puts out the right message, and be very thinking out of the box. Because I think it's time for Angleton. I think it's time that we're next in line, and we got to be ready for it. And that may be the route we go.
Okay. In the past, Angleton has lost small business and development opportunities to other communities. What steps would you take to make the process less cumbersome and make Angleton more inviting to those who wish to invest here?
We've heard it. We've heard it time and time again, and I'm not going to hide it. We always say that, my gosh, it's so hard to do something in the city, and it's time for us to really take a hard look and step back and look at that process. Look at how, from beginning to end, even if we have to walk the process ourselves. If I was a business person wanting to come here and open up, whether it's in a pre-existing building or building a new building, let's walk ourselves through it and go, oh, we should be doing that. Our process is horrible. Or we have a good process, but we need to tweak it some. And that's everything from maybe building inspections, code enforcement, economic development. We need to look at all that whole process and develop something that goes, here, business owner, here it is. Here's how you do it in our city, and just follow these steps. And I don't think we have that. I know I've talked about it. We need to get there, because heaven forbid anything happen to any of those city staff members, we got to have somebody who can still pick up that manual and not skip a beat. And I think that manual not only helps the city, but it helps the end user, which is going to be that new business owner or builder. I think it's time for that.
Okay. Describe the models, tools, incentives that you may know about that other communities in Texas are using successfully that you would support to encourage job creation and retention in Angleton and boost economic development.
I think I've kind of said a couple of those earlier, between a TERS, an abatement, our tax rebate program. I don't know. I would like to know more, and I should know more for this. But I would definitely be reaching out to other communities I see successful, whether it be, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Go look at a Lake Jackson, maybe look at a Pearland, go look at an Alvin, look at our backyard, and talk to those guys. What are y'all doing right? How are we not doing it right? And learn from them. We always said in the EMS world, don't reinvent the wheel. If somebody's doing it better, why don't you follow them? So why aren't we doing the same thing? We need to do the exact same thing. But I would say kind of maintain where we're at, and we need to venture out. And like I said, the 4B, that may be our opportunity, is to switch that over. It may be time.
Okay. How important, I'm going to ask you this question, but I'm going to say before I even ask it that every answer that you've given, we can tell where you stand on this.
Okay.
But I want to know, how important do you think the attitude of city leaders, and maybe not just city leaders, but everyone someone comes in contact with, how important is that attitude for economic development? An example, would you support a can-do attitude as opposed to the one that says can't do that, can't do that?
And if you look at my notes, I said huge, huge, exclamation, exclamation. In me, I give everybody an opportunity. I'm a person that says, if you want to try it, go do it. Whether you can or can't, but we need to try it. Who knows, those possible failures can end up being success stories. So I think everybody needs to give everybody an open mind, clear vision, opportunity. You can do it. If you still tell me you can't do it, at least go try to do it. So I think the can-do attitude, like I said, you steer the boat. You got to have that positive, happy smile. And if it's the can't attitude, then don't bring somebody else down because you say they can't. Let them. We still need to try to make that person successful. And so I just think that we all have to have a can attitude. But if there's a can't attitude, how do we change that can't attitude? How can we influence that person for that can't attitude to now make it a can-do attitude? And like I said, the mayor has that ability, or that, I don't want to use the word power because it's not a power issue. It's they set the tone. They make the feel good start out. If the feel good is not there, then it's not going to be there, and it's just going to be infectious, and I don't like that. You know me, Beth. I usually am a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of guy, and even on a bad day, but I still will make that smile go upright and not be down, because you and I know, you walk in with a sour attitude, everybody else is going to be just as sour.
Okay, do you think it's important to watch what other cities, communities are doing and learn from what they're doing that's working for them or not working for them?
Oh yeah, I think so. We need to be looking, calling our peers. And I've known Beth a long time, and I know she'll always start off, I've called my peer. So why can't the same thing happen? It's successful for you guys, it ought to be successful for us. It's always, if you can't find it, go ask somebody and just talk to people. But yes, I think we need to be talking to our neighbors. I know there's a citizens group that meets every month for the city councils, and they meet. That's the prime opportunities to network and see what's going on with those guys.
At least those in Brazoria County.
Yeah, exactly, those in Brazoria County, yes ma'am.
Okay, Jason, I just have 3 more questions for you.
Okay.
In your discussions with voters, what concerns or issues have been raised that have surprised you the most? And in doing so, what are your suggestions for dealing with those issues?
Well, one of them is, of course, we've talked about is our economic development. Or there may be, the citizens don't understand how that whole process works. And so they complain about, well, we don't have X, we don't have Y and Z, how come everybody else has it? And I have to explain to them that when a retailer comes in, they look at our demographics, they look at our background, they look at the dynamics of our citizens, of our community, and they're trying to figure out is that going to be successful here. Once you explain to them about how that process works, where our tax dollars, where people spend their money, they're looking at what they spend it on, they're looking at those type of things. Franchising, whether there's infringement areas already of other businesses, they don't look at that. And so once you explain to those things, then they understand it. The second thing that came to light of mine that somebody said was, well, my availability to be the mayor. And I tell them, yes, I've started a new job. I'll put it out there. I'm a shift worker. But because of my shift work, I only work 14 days a month. So the rest of the month I have to spend on maybe city business, whether it's meeting with the developer, meeting with city staff on an important project. I'll have that availability to meet with somebody. They want to come in at night if I need to come in, if they need to come in at night. I'll do whatever. As a mayor, the city will be my priority. Next to my job and family, but it'll be a priority. And then thirdly, one of the things that surprised me was, I forgot my train of thought. Anyway, but those are two things right there that really I think we can go with as far as what I heard from the citizens. I'm gonna still hit the doors, go out and meet the streets and see what they are. I ride down, I carry a black spiral in my car, and it's got my notes. It's got everything that people that I see or want. Even if I drive the street and see a pothole, I'm writing it down. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing that as well.
Awesome. Okay, what are your top 3 goals if elected to this position?
Economic development. We have to get those rooftops. We have to get that more variety of retail, expanded retail, so to speak. Also, with economic development is maybe a big business that has big jobs here. We brought 3M here when I was on council several years ago. So I think that's important because, like I said earlier, you and I know that once you bring that sales tax dollar here, you bring that more property value, the burden lessens on you and I and the citizens here. So that's got to be one of the most important things. And it helps with quality of life. You now can go get that gourmet coffee or now get that expensive set of blue jeans or XYZ widget that you can't get at this time. So we have to do that quality of life. Secondly is controlled growth, and I've talked about that comprehensive plan. It's time to really dust it off, get it off the shelf, make sure we're there, make sure was that vision that we did 12 years ago, is it where we're at today? Are we right on track? Did we go way off the path? And so I think we got to really look at that and revitalize that group, those volunteer citizens, that city staff, and dust it off and let's get it going again. And then the last one is maintain our city services. Do we need to expand them, or are we just riding the boat right now? And so I think we really need to evaluate those as far as our city services and police, fire, streets, garbage, water, sewer, drainage. I think we need to really look at that. And I know we look at that day to day, we look at it month to month, but do we really look at it? Is somebody with that expert in that field go and say, yeah, these are the streets that are really, really, if we don't catch up with them now, they're going to be worse later and it's going to cost more to fix. Or we got somebody looking at our pipes in the ground and going, those pipes, man, they've been there for 40 plus years. We really need to do something, or it's going to be a bigger headache down the road. And so I think we really need to make sure, and we have city staff that can do that, hopefully, but if not, let's bring the people in that can do that for us. And so those are the 3 big things I think I'm looking at. It takes time, it takes money, it takes energy, but once again, it takes somebody to be that cheerleader to push that marquee and keep it going that way.
Okay. Any additional comments?
Well, Beth, as you know, I bleed purple. Been here all my life. I think I'm deeply rooted in this community with all my involvement that I've been with. It's a passion of mine. I've been a civic person since I was a maybe sophomore in high school because I was in the junior fire department. And I've just grown from that with all my involvement with the chamber, the United Way, the fair. I'm still a volunteer fireman. It's still a passion of mine. You know, I think people ought to see that, man, this guy really cares about his community. He has stuck it out and he's moving forward and wants to continue for all these years. And through my family, I got the support of them as well. You know, my wife being the first lady of Angleton, I kind of scratch my head and kind of wonder. And you know my wife, she's kind of crazy. But, you know, it's just, I want people to know I have a passion. I love my community. I can't say it enough. I bleed purple. I'm a product of the school district. And I chose to stay here, even through college and through my work advancements. You know, I've even said if I advance at my current job, which that's one of my goals, I'm still going to stay here. I'm going to commute. I'm not going to live in the big city. And so this is where I live. This is where this is home for me. And so I hope the other citizens can see the same thing.
Okay. Thank you, Jason.